Hello all, it's Jamie Rodgers from Craftmania, and today I'm bringing you our brand new die of the week. Now I know many of you watch out for these videos, and you might have noticed that last week's die of the week video was missing from our YouTube channel. Now the reason for this is I'm afraid it was sold out by the time we got to film our video. Our die of the week is proving incredibly popular and they are flying out the door before we even get a chance to film the videos and bring them to you. So with that in mind, when I introduce you to today's die of the week for this week, don't dilly-dally if you like the look of it. Get it while we've got it, because they are flying and I don't want you to miss out. This week we are having a little look at a frames and tags die by Sue Wilson. Now whenever we talk about Sue Wilson, we love Sue, don't we? She does the most incredible ornate die sets, and there's always them little tricks we can do with them, and this set is no different. There are 2 dies in this one, and we can use that to cut out our layers to go underneath the filigree panel. We can cut our filigree panel into our cardstock. We can do lots with it, and I'll show you the die shortly, and we'll chat a little bit more about your options with those 2 dies. But to be honest, it's a beautiful one. We've got this incredible design. What's quite nice about it is it isn't too big. So if you do wish to multi-cut it into your backgrounds or cut many of them and layer them, tile cut them, you can do all of those effects as well. But to be honest, if you're liking to make smaller projects, then this is going to be a great little focal point for you. And it's one of those dies that you could dress up with different colours to be different themes, and very easily, just by adding on a sentiment, could change it from every occasion, from Easter to Christmas, right the way through to birthdays and anniversaries and just about any other occasion you can think of. I also think this one would be quite nice for scrapbooking too, because it's got that ornate styling to it. So lots we can do with this one. So let's talk about our price, shall we? Now, whenever we bring you a die of the week here at Craftmania, you know it's going to be on a fantastic price, and this is why they sell out so quickly. So this week's die of the week should be $10.99. That's its recommended retail price, but we have it on offer for you for just $4.99. So you're saving over 50%. I'm no mathematician, but even I can tell you it's over a 50% saving. 50% and still £1, whatever that works out to be. It's an incredible saving. Now, of course, at Craftmania, whenever you spend over £5, you'll also receive free U.K P&P. So if you can find something for a couple of pennies to pop in your basket to get you over that free P&P threshold, this will be delivered directly to you free of charge anytime you spend over £5, which is great because at Craftmania we have over 10,000 products you can choose from some of the most incredible designers and companies from around the world. So I'm sure you're not going to struggle to add in another little something to get this to you with free P&P. Now, if you're watching abroad, then of course you can shop with us. We send all over the world, and your P&P on any item, however much you spend, however little, however high, doesn't matter, your P&P is capped at just £10. If it costs more than £10 to post it internationally, here at Craftmania, we will pay that difference for you. So that is the most you will pay. If it's less than £10, then we will actually refund you the difference. Now, being honest with you, that's very rare that happens, because P&P, especially when we're talking internationally, is becoming hellishly expensive. But we do our best to keep it as low as we can here for you, whether that's the free UK P&P over £5 or the capped £10 P&P internationally. Wherever our crafters are, we want to take the best value route to getting you the product, because who wants to spend out on P&P when we could be spending that money on crafty goodies? So let's jump in and have a little look at what we could do with this die and show you a few of the samples that I've created to hopefully give you a bit of inspiration. So let's have a little look at our lovely Victoria die then. So this one has 2 dies in the set, and this is brilliant because what that means is we have our filigree panel, and this has no outside blade attached to it. So if we'd like to multi-cut this into a panel, we absolutely can do. It then comes with its separate outside edge, and this is great because it means we can use the 2 together to cut that out as a filigree panel if we wish to. It also means that if we want to, we can use this one to cut an aperture in our card and sink this one beneath it, Or of course, if you wish to, you can cut it out together and then cut another colour and place that underneath so you see that shine through the apertures created on your die cut. So lots of ways we can use these, and it really does give us an awful lot of creativity. Another part I really love with this design is it can be used pretty much in any direction. So of course, going 90 degrees, we could sort of twist it those ways, but actually I could see you could bring that round and fan them together to make really lovely like rosette backgrounds. You're going to be quite big with that, so I might be looking more for scrapbooking or home decor, but it's certainly a way in which you could be using them and piecing them together, and it would work in any position, and I just think that's a really lovely idea with this one. So let's have a little look at what I've created with it. Now, as always, we will have a dedicated page on our website for this die of the week. And I mention this at this stage because it's important. If you want to find the gems, the cardstock, the pearls, the ink pad that's been used, the texture paste, the stencil, the ribbon, all of it will be on the same page. So when you pop onto the website, which is www.craftmaniacraft.com, you'll see a menu bar, and on it, it says Die of the Week. If you give that a little click, it'll go through and you'll see all different dies of the week. These are all our previous ones that we've been doing throughout the year. One every week, they launch every Monday, and it's always good to get in there quickly because like we see last week, they sell out rather fast. Our videos for YouTube tend to appear on Wednesday, Thursday, if the product is still left in stock. So it's good to get ahead of the game, have a little look early in the week if you haven't already found them and seen them. But nevertheless, head on there, you'll see the picture of the die. It'll be pictured on our little graphic telling you about the price, telling you about the offer. Give that a click and it will take you through to a page, and everything on all of the cards we're going to be looking at will be on there for you. So all of your flowers, all of your gems, all of your cards, everything will be there. So for this one, and you've seen this card now a couple of times through the dies of the week, because I love working on this style between the mirror card, the polar white, the seashell blue, this lovely diamond white texture space, this snowflake stencil. That combo there is something I'm really enjoying working with. So it's all about changing up what we place on top of it. So this time, of course, we've brought in the Victoria die, and I've cut them out of silver mirror card using the outside edge and the filigree panel. Then I've cut the reverse panel, the backing panel, just using this part of the die in the same seashell blue, and glued the silver one on top of the blue one. I've then padded these two on the height of one foam pad and the middle one on the height of two. So it joins together, sort of creates this bridge effect. Added on our little Season's Greetings banner, a couple of poinsettias, few gems, and that's this card created. Very simple, very easy, but hopefully very effective. And when you see the glitz of that beautiful diamond sparkle texture paste, gemstone texture paste, and then you've got the sparkle and the shimmer of the mirror card, I think that really works nicely, especially with that seashell blue. Moving on to something completely different, and this is what I love about doing cards for the die of the week. We can go from one extreme right the way through to the other. So this time we've gone Christmassy, we've gone very sort of Frozen-esque in our light blues and our whites. How about making this slightly more masculine, a bit more rusty in style, truly, and that sort of elegant-esqueness that comes with that, possibly even steampunky styling, maybe. Interpret it as you will, but it's all about using this die to tile cut. So what I've done is I've taken the filigree part of the die and I've literally put it onto my card and cut it multiple times. I've then taken the sheet that I've cut out and placed it onto a self-adhesive sticky sheet and placed through that, I believe they're called Meadow something, can't remember now, but they're on that page I mentioned so you can see them. But these are one of the gilding flakes we stock at Craftmania, and we do lots of different gilding flakes, but I've put the Meadow ones, I'm going to just call them a Meadow now because I can't remember, but Meadow something through the, it's going to bug me, and I'm going to have to, once I've filmed this, I'm going to have to go investigate, but they're Meadow something, through over the top of the apertures, and they're stuck obviously to the sticky area underneath. It's a great way to stick down your delicate sheet, your sort of fretwork sheet, and it's a really lovely way to put something through in the background. Now obviously I've gone for these sort of, I class them sort of as rusty gilding flakes because they've got all this sort of tone and shading coming through, even that lovely like verdigris bluey bit, that petrol on water style piece, but it doesn't really matter, it's not about the gilding flakes. The idea here more is you could do this with glitters, you could do it with gilding flakes, you could even do it with talcum powder and have a white effect in the background. It's all about having this stuck down and having that sticky background to place through another product. And as I say, that could be a whole host of different powdery mediums that you could put down on there, and then that's really going to change the style of your creation. Then just added on a little banner, stamped one of our new lace sentiments on there to finish that one off, but it shows a very different style. Going back to Christmas, I'm in a bit of a festive mood at the moment, which is novel for me because if I get a die that isn't Christmas, I don't tend to go too festive with it, but I really wanted to get festive. So again, second Christmas card I wanted to share with you from this die of the week set. This time we've taken the die of the week, we've cut it out of our romantic red, we've backed it with some gold mirror card. Behind that we've stamped using the chameleon green quick dry pigment inks in the poinsettia melody background stamp, which is one of our pattern match stamps you can build up. I've also used the pinstripe stencil in the back with an embossing folder to give a little bit of texture, and I've brought in the foliage die set and the classic poinsettia, and I've inked over the top of these in the matching reds and green inks so that we get the two-tone effect between the cardstock and the top layer where that ink's gone over. Added in a few little ferny pieces that have been cut from some gold mirror card and used the matching colours running through my layers to create this card. So again, very, very simple, nothing complicated. I think maybe this one could do with a sentiment to finish it off, but you know, that's choice. It can always be added to. This is all about just giving you a few ideas. Moving on to our next one. Now this one's quite a big card and I really like this. I'm going to show it to you this way to begin with because then that way you can see all of it in one go. What I've done this time is I've taken a piece of black card and I've taken the filigree die and I've cut it in 3 times. And I really like that. And I did think, oh, I might go down the sort of just monochrome black and white style. And I put the white card underneath it and felt it needed something more. It needed a bit more glamour. So I brought these 2 dies back together and I cut them out of gold mirror card. And then I've stuck these just slightly drop shadowing them so you can still see the black of the cut underneath, and stuck them over the same 3 places from where that die had been cut. So we've still got the gold, we've then got that black shadow, and then we've got that white coming through from underneath. I've then used the same colours of card going through my mats and layers and just added on a white ribbon. Now to me this is a card that could be for just about any occasion. And again we talk colours, you know, if you did this in mint greens with some nice sunny yellows and added a little Easter bunny on here, it would be perfect for Easter. You added a couple of balloons, it could be for a birthday. You know, it's one of them designs that once you've got the formation down, direction and theme is up to you really. Even just going to this style and adding a little sentiment on here, maybe that was Christmas wishes or happy birthday or happy retirement, this background element would work for you really nicely, and it could be done in any colour and you could add on a few additions to suit the theme if you wanted. Speaking of adding on additions, let's bring in Rodney. So another little Christmas card for you. And this is something I personally forget. And when I remember, when I'm sat down making my die of the week samples, I think of all the different things that I tend to forget and try to bring them back to the videos just to jog your memory as much as to jog mine. Because I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's trying to remember these techniques when we're sat there, we're not too sure what we're going to do. And this is one I absolutely love doing. That's taking your filigree die cut, cutting it into a piece of card, and then sending that piece of card through your machine inside an embossing folder, which is exactly what I've done here. So this is a 3D snowflake folder. Again, you're going to find it on that same page. Nothing's hidden. It's all on that one page for you. Because I've chose a frame folder, obviously we've got this opening in the middle. This fits in there perfectly, which is something I was really happy about. If we had gone for a more patterned folder, then of course we might end up with texture on our cut open areas, which might not look as good because it might detract from the detail of what we've created. So I really liked having this frame element to this one. Once I'd cut it from white and embossed it in white, I then decided it needed some colour. So I brought in the blue Emperor quick dry ink pad and I blended a little bit of that over the top. I then decided that I was going to bring in Rodney, and I'd got Rodney already. And I'd actually damaged Rodney on another card. He'd got a bit of damage. It was completely my fault. And I didn't want to leave him on the card where I damaged him. And I couldn't see Rodney go to waste. So I've taken him off and I've trimmed him just to create this corner element and added him back on here. And when I thought about adding Rodney to my very nice bluey snowflakey background, I wanted to bring in the silver that I'd already got on Rodney's hat and scarf. Now, when I coloured Rodney here, I used one of our Oakwood glitter brush pens in silver to add in that little silver sparkle. that wasn't really going to cut it when I wanted to cover the background with that little hue of silver. So instead I used my Argentite Gemstones texture paste, and I put that out with a sponge and just applied it over the back, like one of them little blending foam sponges, and applied it over the background. And it's really built up beautifully to give me this sparkly backing, which I really liked and felt it matched in quite nicely with that detail I mentioned. I've then just layered it using some of our Elite cardstock, including our silver mirror card, and I've added on the Let It Snow stamp, which comes in with Rodney as well, just to finish that one off. Sticking with the Christmas theme and sticking to the cut-in theme, here's another one I've done. And this again is something I forget. You know, I really am quite forgetful, aren't I? But I forget that I can emboss my panels once I've cut them. I also tend to forget that I can die cut into stamped panels or stamped die cut panels, whichever way round you're working. This one I cut actually the intricate part, and I cut that into here, and I was going to go for a really clean and simple, just white card with that bit cut in, maybe a flower or a butterfly put on it, but kept really simplistic. And me, being the sort of haphazard crafter I am, ended up adding a fingerprint to it, which happens all the time in my world. So many of my creations are about covering up where I've gone wrong than actually where I started off, which is fine, because to me that sets a different path to what I intended, and I quite like that. So it's not a problem, but I am a bit haphazard. So I ended up anyway with a mark that I needed to cover. So I decided I would stamp over the background and add a bit of colour. So I've used the chameleon green stamp. I've gone back to my poinsettia melody background stamp, and because that's a pattern match one, I've stamped it twice and built that up. I've added in a little ribbon and a Happy Christmas, and I've used the same green ink to just blend around and colour the background down. Don't forget this panel started off white, but those inks blend brilliantly, and I love stamping and blending in the same colour because you get that two-tone, but you can see they're still of the same colour, and I think that's really lovely and elegant. Underneath our panel here, I've then gone for a gold piece, and I've done exactly the same. I've cut this, just the filigree piece in gold, and then I've lined that up underneath this one and trimmed it to where I need it to be, and foam padded my green panel onto the gold one. So there's just a bit of a step between them. So instead of necessarily being about having a drop shadow, this is more about having that gold underlay, and that was sort of where I went with this one. I've then added in white below that, and then again our romantic red. All of this is done with our Elite cardstock. I've then cut the classic poinsettia and the foliage and added those in as well. Just really simple, really easy, and again could be done in either direction, which works quite nicely. You could really play around with your positioning of where that element is. That'd also look quite nice if it went landscape across the middle. So lots of different ideas. Again, sticking to our cutting idea, and our last card to share with you. So this time we've cut in for the gold, just using the filigree panel, but I then didn't just want a gold card. I wanted to build more with this. So I've then taken a piece of white card and I've cut this one into it, knowing I'm going to foam tape this on top of the gold. Then what I've done is, once cut the aperture, I have then added on my stamped lace design. So I could line up my stamped lace to exactly where I wanted it to be, so that it matched in perfectly point-wise with where I've added in my diamond die cut. I've then finished this off by adding in the classic poinsettia and the little thank you banner. Now to me, although this is the classic poinsettia, I've gone for the layers in this one, which aren't actually at all Christmassy, and I felt they just looked like a really pretty white flower. I've added in some gold gems into the middle to make a little flower, which I knew would match the gold gems I'd added onto the floral lace border, and the gold gems I'd added into the middles and the corners, and of course matching in with the gold that's going to be in the layers underneath it. So again, really simple, really easy. Another card that I felt could be done in multiple colours, and I know I keep saying that, but I really feel this for these ones. You could so easily just change the colour and add in a different element for a different style, and you could end up with so many different effects that are going to take you all throughout the year. Now that's just 7 ideas of what you can create with this die set, but I have a feeling you're going to have a whole lot more when you get playing with this one. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed our little look into this incredible frames and tags die, and I know that you're going to be adding this to your baskets very quickly. Don't forget, it is only $4.99. It should be $10.99. And of course, if you spend over £5 and you live in the UK, you're going to receive free UK P&P. If you'd like to order this internationally, then your P&P is capped at just £10. As always, if you have any questions, please just pop them in the comments wherever you're watching this, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else, and I will do my best to hunt them down and answer them for you, because we are always here to help in any way we can. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon for our next video. Bye for now.